Hello, baby. I miss you.
What would you do if you woke up to the sound of police sirens? What if you found out something terrible happened in your neighborhood? That's what happened one fateful morning in Alexandria, Louisiana. A 38-year-old woman named Chhaterica Smith and a 42-year-old man, Tracy Johnson, were found dead. They didn't just die by accident. Something really bad happened. Something we still don't fully understand. It was a quiet morning in Alexandria, Louisiana, when the world of Chhaterica Smith and Tracy Johnson came to an end. Their deaths were a shock, not just to their families, but to everyone who knew them. The neighborhood was filled with questions. What happened? Why did it happen? The police arrived at the house early that morning after a call about a fight and gunshots. What they found was heartbreaking. A woman and a man, both dead in the same place. Catica had been shot, and Tracy's death looked like he did it himself. The police were confused, and they needed answers. Was it a tragic accident or something darker? But before we dive into the mystery of their deaths, let's talk about who Catica and Tracy were. They weren't just names in the news. They were real people with families, friends, and lives full of hopes and dreams. Catica was a mother, a daughter, and a sister. She had a bright smile and loved to laugh. Tracy, on the other hand, was known for his quiet ways. He was someone who didn't show his feelings very much, but his friends knew he could always be counted on when times were tough. The night before their deaths, things seemed normal, but something went horribly wrong. What led to this tragedy? Was it a fight? Was it an argument that turned deadly? What was the reason behind it all? The answers lie deep within the story of their lives and the tragic events that led to that fateful morning. Do you think it's possible for something small to turn into something so big and tragic? Can someone's quiet nature hide the truth about their feelings? If you enjoy real crime stories that uncover the truth, don't forget to subscribe. Your support helps us share real cases, spread awareness, and give a voice to those who can't speak for themselves. Before we begin, let us know in the comments, where are you watching from? And what are your thoughts as the story unfolds? Welcome to True Crime Tales, where we reveal the crimes that shock communities and the secrets hidden behind closed doors. These are real people, real events, real consequences. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Now let's begin. Chhaterica Smith was 38 years old and a mother of 2 children. She was known for her bright personality, always smiling and making those around her feel happy. People who knew her would often talk about how kind and caring she was. Chhaterica worked hard every day to make sure her kids had everything they needed. She didn't just think about her own happiness. She focused on making life better for her family. Chhaterica was determined to create a better future for her children and herself, always working toward her dreams. She had a job to help to provide for her family, and when she wasn't working, she would volunteer at her local church. She liked to give back to her community, helping others whenever she could. People who lived near Chhaterica saw her as someone who was always ready to lend a hand, whether it was helping a neighbor or organizing community events. Her presence was a source of comfort to many people in her neighborhood. Everyone knew that Chhaterica was the kind of person who wanted to make the world a better place. Despite the happiness and love she brought to those around her, Chhaterica also had struggles in her personal life. Like everyone, she faced challenges. Sometimes, things were not as perfect as they seemed. There were moments when she felt overwhelmed, just like anyone else. But she worked hard to keep going, always putting her family first. Still, these personal struggles might have played a role in the events that unfolded in the days before her tragic death. No one knows for sure what happened, but some of her struggles might build up over time, affecting the choices and actions of the people around her. Tracy Johnson was 42 years old. He was a man who kept to himself most of the time. Unlike Chhaterica, Tracy wasn't as outgoing. He was quiet and didn't share his thoughts or feelings with others easily. Those who knew him said he was calm, even when things around him were chaotic. People who worked with him or spent time with him describe him as someone who didn't make a lot of noise, but always got things done. He worked as a mechanic, fixing cars and other machines. His job wasn't fancy, But Tracy was proud of his skills. People respected him for being good at what he did, even though he didn't seek attention. Chhaterica Smith and Tracy Johnson were two people who had been through a lot together, and their wedding was a big moment in their lives. They decided to get married in the early part of the year, on a warm spring day. The sun was shining brightly, and there was a soft breeze in the air, making the day feel special. It wasn't a grand ceremony with a big fancy hall or lots of guests. Instead, they chose to keep things simple, but it was still full of love and meaning. There wasn't a big, expensive venue, but the people who were there made it feel just right. Only close friends and family attended, people who had watched Catica and Tracy grow as a couple. Everyone was excited because they had been waiting for this day for a long time. Chhaterica wore a beautiful dress. It wasn't too fancy, but it looked perfect on her. The dress was simple, white, and flowed nicely as she walked. She looked happy, full of love and excitement for her new life with Tracy. Tracy, on the other hand, wore a suit, something simple and comfortable but fitting for the occasion. He didn't wear anything too flashy, but he looked proud to stand beside the woman he loved. The ceremony was short but meaningful. They exchanged vows, promising to support each other through good times and bad, to be there for one another no matter what happened. There were no big speeches or special performances, just the exchange of rings and words that marked the beginning of their new journey as husband and wife. Some people may have thought their wedding was too simple, but for Chhaterica and Tracy, it was perfect because it was true to who they were. After the ceremony, there was a small reception with some food and music. They didn't need anything big. They were just happy to have their closest friends and family with them. The food was homemade, a mix of dishes that reminded everyone of family gatherings, comfort food that made everyone feel at home. People talked, laughed, and shared stories about Chhaterica and Tracy, reminiscing about their journey together. It wasn't the kind of wedding where people danced all night or gave speeches until the end, but it didn't need to be. What mattered most to Chhaterica and Tracy was that they were together. It was the start of a new chapter in their lives, one filled with hope and dreams of future. But like many things in life, their marriage faced challenges, as every relationship does. They had their good days and bad days, but they tried to make the best of it, always holding on to the love they shared. The wedding marked the beginning of a journey, one that was supposed to be filled with love and companionship. Unfortunately, the road ahead was not as smooth as they hoped, and things took an unexpected turn in the days to come. Their wedding day, though simple, was a reminder that sometimes love doesn't need to be fancy to be real. It was a special day that people would remember, even though it was just a glimpse into the complex and sometimes difficult life that followed. While Tracy was good at his job, he also struggled with things in his personal life. These struggles were not always visible to others, as Tracy didn't talk about them much. Some people believe that his quiet nature might have hidden how he was truly feeling inside. He was known to keep his emotions to himself, which made it hard for people to know what was really going on in his life. This might have caused him to feel even more isolated, as he didn't have many people to talk to about his problems. Tracy's relationship with Chhaterica was not always easy. Like many couples, they had good times, but there were also moments of tension. Their relationship had its ups and downs, and there were times when things were difficult between them. The two of them had different ways of dealing with problems, which sometimes led to arguments. These challenges were part of their relationship, but no one knew that something much more serious was on the horizon. The events of that night, when Tracy and Chhaterica both lost their lives, left many people wondering what had really happened. Was it the result of a long-running argument, or was there something more complicated going on? The truth about that night remains unclear, and is a mystery that still haunts everyone who knew them. In a small, peaceful neighborhood in Alexandria, Louisiana, Chhaterica Smith and Tracy Johnson lived quietly. On the surface, their evening seemed just like any other. The neighborhood was calm, and everything appeared to be going as usual. People were finishing their daily routines. Children were playing outside, and families were winding down after a busy day. Chhaterica and Tracy, like everyone else, were just getting ready for bed, not knowing that the events of this particular night would change everything forever. Chhaterica and Tracy were at home in their house. They had no reason to believe that tonight would be any different from any other night. They were in the same space, but something was different. Was it a fight? Was it something small that suddenly grew bigger? Or was it something that had been building up for a long time without anyone noticing? From what the neighbors heard, the disagreement between Chhaterica and Tracy was loud. There were raised voices, and it sounded like both were upset. But no one knew exactly what they were arguing about. Was it something that had been building up for a while? Or was it something that just happened in the heat of the moment? No one could say for sure. Then, after the argument, there was a loud, sharp sound, a gunshot. It echoed through the neighborhood, followed by silence. Neighbors rushed to make the call. But by the time the police arrived, the damage had already been done. Chhaterica was dead, and Tracy was found, too. His life ended in a way no one could have expected. What led to that single gunshot? Was it a mistake, or did something deeper drive Tracy to make that decision? The police began their investigation, but the questions were many. What started the argument between Chhaterica and Tracy? Was it something small, like a disagreement over something they'd said to each other? Or was it something bigger, something that had been building up for a long time? Sometimes people hold on to their feelings for so long that, when they finally speak up, it can explode into something uncontrollable. Could that have been what happened here? Or was there something more? Another question was whether there was something hidden from others. Sometimes people don't show their true feelings, even to the people they love the most. Maybe Chhaterica and Tracy had problems that no one else knew about. Could there have been things they never shared with their families and friends? The people closest to them were left wondering if they could have done anything to prevent the tragedy. Were there signs they missed? Did Tracy have a deeper struggle that no one knew about? Finally, there was the biggest question of all. Why did Tracy's actions lead to such a tragic outcome? Why did he decide to do what he did that night? What made him make such a life-changing decision? Was it something in the heat of the moment, or had he been planning this for a while? No one could answer this question right away, and it left everyone searching for answers. Tracy's actions left everyone questioning why he felt he had no other choice. When the police arrived, they went inside the house and found two bodies. One was Chhaterica Smith, a 38-year-old woman, and the other was Tracy Johnson, a 42-year-old man. Chhaterica had been shot. She was lying on the floor, and it was clear she had not survived. Tracy was also found dead, but his death seemed different. It appeared he had taken his own life. However, there was something about Tracy's death that didn't seem right. Could it really have been a suicide, or was something else happening in that house? The police could not ignore the strange facts. If Tracy had killed Chhaterica, why would he then turn the gun on himself? It made the police wonder if there was more to the story. They decided to investigate carefully to find out what had truly happened. The investigation began immediately. The police examined the house for clues. They looked around every room to see if they could find anything unusual. They noticed that the front door was unlocked, and there were no signs of anyone breaking into the house. There were no broken windows or forced entry. This was strange because, in most cases of violence, there are signs that someone forced their way into the house. But in this case, everything seemed normal. The police looked at the bodies carefully. Chhaterica's body showed clear signs of gunshot wounds, but Tracy's body did not have any clear signs of a struggle. He had a gun in his hand, and it seemed that he had shot himself. But why would someone who had just killed another person choose to end their own life? This raised many questions for the police. Could it be that Tracy had planned to kill Chhaterica and then decided to end his own life afterward? Or was there something else at play? Was there someone else involved in this tragedy? The police couldn't be sure. They needed more answers, so they decided to dig deeper. When the families of Chhaterica and Tracy were told about the deaths, they were in shock. They couldn't believe that something like this had happened. Chhaterica's family knew her as a kind and loving person. She had always been there for her children, her friends, and everyone in her life. To hear that she had been killed was a terrible shock. Tracy's family was also in disbelief. Tracy was a quiet man. He didn't have many friends, but he was known for his calm nature. He had his struggles, but no one ever imagined that he could do something like this. The idea that Tracy might have killed someone and then taken his own life was hard for his family to accept. They just couldn't understand how something like this could happen. Both families had many questions. Why would Tracy do something so terrible? What could have happened that led to these deaths? The families were left in pain and confusion, struggling to understand the events that had unfolded in the house. There are still many questions that need to be answered. Was it really Tracy who ended his own life, or did someone else play a part in his death? The police didn't have all the answers yet. They would need to continue their investigation to figure out if anyone else was involved. The police found no signs of forced entry into the house, which suggested that neither Chhaterica nor Tracy had tried to fight off an intruder. There was no sign of struggle. The investigation would need to focus on other clues, such as Tracy's past, his relationship with Chhaterica, and any other possible reasons for the deaths. Both families were in shock. They couldn't believe what had happened. Chhaterica's family was grieving the loss of a mother and a sister, while Tracy's family was left confused, wondering if they had missed any signs that could have stopped this from happening. As the investigation continued, the police worked hard to uncover the truth. Was it really a murder-suicide, or was there more to the story? The answers were still out there, waiting to be discovered. After the tragic deaths of Chhaterica Smith and Tracy Johnson, many people started guessing what had really happened that night. Some thought it was a murder-suicide. This means they believed Tracy had hurt Chhaterica in a fit of anger before turning the gun on himself. In many cases, when both people are found dead in the same place, people think it could be one person killing another and then ending their own life. This is what some people thought happened to Tracy and Chhaterica. They believed that Tracy might have lost control during a fight and made a terrible decision. But was it really a murder-suicide? Was it as simple as some people thought? The answer isn't so clear. There was something strange about this case that didn't match the usual signs of a murder-suicide. The police could not find all the answers they were hoping for, and that's what made this mystery even more confusing. No one knew for sure what had happened inside that house. As the investigation went on, more questions started to pop up. Some people believed that maybe someone else had been involved. If Tracy and Chhaterica were the only ones in the house, how could they both be dead? Could someone from outside the house have played a role? Perhaps there was another person who wasn't seen, but still somehow connected to the deaths. The police found that there were no signs of forced entry into the home. This means no one had broken into the house. The door was not damaged, and there were no footprints or signs of a struggle at the entrance. This was odd because if someone had hurt Chhaterica, there might have been signs of a fight or someone trying to get in or out. But there was nothing like that. This made people wonder. If Tracy had really done this, why was everything so calm when the police arrived? Could someone else have been there before the police came? Even the neighbors were unsure. They didn't see anyone else near the house that night. But people often don't see everything happening around them. Was there someone hiding in the shadows? Or were things just as simple as they seemed? The mystery only deepened as the police found more things that didn't make sense. There are a few big questions that need to be answered in order to understand what really happened to Chhaterica and Tracy. These questions might help solve the puzzle, but there are still no answers. If Tracy was alone with Chhaterica in the house, why were there no signs of anyone else being involved? Some people thought someone else might have been there, even though the police couldn't find any evidence. Was there a third person who left before the police arrived? Could there have been someone hiding in the house during the police investigation? Sometimes in cases like these, there are small details that are easy to miss. Maybe there was a neighbor who saw something or heard something, but no one knows for sure. What if someone knew something but didn't say it? Could the mystery of these deaths be bigger than just Tracy and Chhaterica? Another important question is, why did Tracy do what he did? Tracy was known for being quiet and keeping to himself. He didn't show his feelings often, but what caused him to snap that night? Was it a big argument? Did he feel like there was no way out? Sometimes when people feel trapped or sad, they make choices they wouldn't normally make. Could Tracy have felt like he had no other option? Was it something that built up over time, or was it a sudden moment of anger? The police didn't know for sure. Maybe Tracy's quiet nature had hidden his feelings for a long time, and no one knew what was going on inside his mind. Could a small argument have turned into something bigger than anyone could have imagined? These questions are important because they can help explain why Tracy might have acted the way he did. If Tracy really did kill Chhaterica, and then take his own life? What was going through his mind? The police couldn't find enough answers to explain why someone would make such a tragic choice. This is what makes the case even more confusing. Tracy's actions didn't make sense, and that left everyone wondering if something else happened. After the tragic deaths of Chhaterica Smith and Tracy Johnson, the lives of their families were changed forever. Both families had to face the reality of losing their loved ones in such a sudden and shocking way. It was hard for them to understand what had happened and why. How could they go on after such a tragedy? Chhaterica's family was left heartbroken. She was a mother, a daughter, and a sister. She meant the world to them. Her children lost their mother, and her parents had to live with the pain of losing their daughter. The pain of her death was deep, and every day was filled with questions. What went wrong that night? Could they have done something to stop it? Chhaterica's family had to find a way to cope with the loss, but it wasn't easy. They had to deal with grief, sadness, and confusion. No one could answer why it happened, but they had to learn how to move forward. Tracy's family also faced a difficult road. Tracy was known for being quiet, and his family struggled to understand what led to his actions. They had to process the shock of his death, especially since the circumstances seemed unclear. Was it really suicide? If so, why did he do it? Tracy's family had to deal with their own pain, but they also had to face the mystery of why he ended his life. They too were left with questions that might never be fully answered. As for the investigators, they never fully solved the case. The police investigated what happened that night, but the truth remained unclear. Was it a murder-suicide, or was there something else involved? The investigation revealed some clues, but not enough to explain everything. No one will ever know for sure what happened behind those closed doors. The case left more questions than answers, and some things may never be fully understood. How did Chhaterica's family cope with the loss of their loved one? Chhaterica's family had to rely on each other to get through the pain. They shared memories of her, talked about her, and remembered the good times. They knew they would never forget her, but they had to find a way to keep going despite the sadness. Their love for Catica helped them through the hardest days. Will Tracy's family ever get closure on his death? Tracy's family struggled to find peace. They wanted answers, but they may never fully understand why Tracy did what he did. The question of whether it was a suicide or something else remains. They would have to live with the uncertainty, which made it harder to heal. Even though they would always love him, they might never get the answers they wanted. Every mystery teaches us something. The story of Chhaterica and Tracy reminds us that we never truly know what is going on in someone's life. On the outside, everything may seem fine, but inside, someone could be struggling with feelings they don't share with others. This case shows how important it is to talk about our feelings when things are tough. When we keep everything inside, it can be hard to cope, and sometimes it leads to terrible consequences. The story also teaches us that life is fragile. No one knows what will happen tomorrow, and sometimes bad things can happen unexpectedly. It reminds us to cherish the time we have with those we love, and to look out for each other. If someone you know is struggling, it's important to check in with them and offer help. We all need support, and we shouldn't be afraid to ask for it when we need it. Have you ever been surprised by something that happened around you? Sometimes things happen that we don't expect. Maybe someone acted in a way we didn't see coming. Think about a time when something surprised you. How did you feel? Do you think it's important to talk about your feelings when things aren't going well? When things are hard, it can be tempting to keep everything to ourselves. But do you think it's better to talk to someone when we're feeling sad or upset? Why do you think it's important to share our feelings? This story leaves us with many questions, but also teaches us the value of understanding, love, and communication. It shows how important it is to reach out for help when we need it and to be there for people around us. If you found this story as gripping and heartbreaking as we did, don't forget to like this video and share it with others. And if you want to hear more true crime stories that uncover the mysteries behind these tragic events, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell. You won't want to miss our latest stories, updates, and discussions. Thank you for joining us on this journey to seek justice and explore the truth. Together, we can make a difference. Until next time, stay safe and stay aware.